Today is Wednesday, November 27th, and this is your forecast for the northeastern United States. Let me be one of the first to wish you a very happy Thanksgiving. And of course, today is one of the busiest travel days of the entire year. The weather's going to be pretty quiet in the northeast. We got some issues out to our west. We'll talk about that in a moment. But let's get things started with the main headlines going into Thanksgiving and beyond. Now, there will be a storm system moving through the northeast for Thanksgiving that is going to bring rain and breezy conditions for New York City. It does mean some rain for the Thanksgiving Day parade. Most of that rain is probably going to come toward later morning, like 9, 10. I guess that would be more like mid-morning, depending on when you wake up, and then continuing through the afternoon. And the breeze, of course, means that a lot of those balloons, as they're walking down the parade route, will probably be held a little bit lower to the ground. We have snow that is in the forecast for interior sections of the Northeast, so we will take a look at that forecast. And then once all of that moves on through, a cold blast really just starts to arrive this weekend, but we feel its full effects going into next week. So that's why I've been saying make sure you have that winter gear handy. This morning in New York City, it is a chilly start to the day, so definitely a warm jacket. It'll be rather chilly this afternoon, clouds increasing, a high right around 50 degrees, and then we fall back just pretty slowly though because of the clouds increasing back into the low 40s. Looking around the Northeast, 46 today in Albany, 43 in Syracuse, probably about that in Rochester and Buffalo, 46 with cloudy skies over there in Columbus, rain just off to the west. And then tonight that rain works in, so we'll see the rain working into Buffalo and Columbus and probably also Philadelphia. The rain sort of rotating in from the southwest, and we'll see that rain by daybreak reaching Syracuse, Albany, and New York City, probably a little after daybreak in New York City, as I said, probably going to start closer to 8 or 9 o'clock on Thanksgiving Day tomorrow. So as we look at our forecast map here across the country, the reason for the rain, and it almost looks displaced here when you see where the precipitation is and then where the low is. This is where the low is this morning, but it's going to rapidly move off to the northeast, and that's why I get this sort of comma-like shape. On the north side, some light snow, most of that staying outside of Chicago, and I mentioned that because this is such a big travel day, and if your flight plans bring you through Chicago, most of that stays outside of the Chicago airport, so should be okay there. But if your flights bring you connecting through Denver, there's a pretty big winter storm there with heavy snow, especially over the higher terrain. That certainly could cause some impacts at that airport, so keep that in mind. So we are going to see some snow in interior sections of the Northeast, rain along the coast. That includes Philly to New York, down or over to Boston. You get into the higher elevations, the Poconos, the southern Catskills, and this is where we could see 3 to 6 inches of snow. You get outside of that, it's generally 1 to 3 in the blue shadings. That's just outside of Syracuse, probably around Binghamton, and then getting into some parts of the Adirondacks, mostly the southern Adirondacks, seeing 1 to 3 inches of snow on Thanksgiving. So a few of us going to have a white Thanksgiving. What can you do? Hopefully it's the same for a white Christmas for those that are hoping for that. So we got some rain around on Thanksgiving, some windy conditions too. Then that moves out. It's not so bad on Friday if you have any shopping plans. Actually should be pretty nice in New York, but it's going to turn quite a bit colder into the weekend. And as I mentioned, this is only the start. I think it's going to get even colder across the Northeast for the second half of next week. Lots of lake effect snow in the forecast for areas east of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. So if you live in those areas, a heads up on that. That's your Wednesday morning weather update. I do again want to wish you a very happy Thanksgiving. I personally am so thankful that you take the time to watch these weather updates and allow me to do what I love to do, and that is tell a weather story. So thank you for that. And remember that as long as you want there to be, there will always be a 100% chance of good things.